Hey guys, we're back with Norsca today. Same thing, we're going to go over cavalry and missile and beasts and then over infantry. Norsca is another heavy infantry faction for Radious, so there'll definitely be more when it comes to that. But we do have quite a few new lords. We have the Premier Noble, that's who's going to be sitting with us during this one, and then I'll do one of the other ones for the infantry variant. So we'll start out with him. He is unbreakable. He has an effect called From the Mist, which gives him another 20% missile resistance above that, above half leadership. He causes both terror and fear, although it causes terror and fear down here. And then he has frostbite, magical attacks, anti-large, and armor piercing. Good armor, good charge. He's going to be helpful in taking down those single entity monsters, supporting your front lines against any monsters infantry they might face. I really like his design. And then this is also another theming thing which I've gone into multiple times. You have Famir units, and now you have their lord, as well as their sorcerer too. So you can have a whole Famir army finally. Really cool looking though. Heavy like mace thing. I believe the great weapons have stuff like this too. Yeah, there's a new lord variant, monsters infantry. We get two new cavalry options. We get tier 2 Kurgan mounted hunters. They're gonna be shielded with the silver chaos shields, vanguard deployments. Oh, they both have access to rage, both the Famir and the mounted hunters. They both have rage, which buffs for the longer they're in melee. Not a bad unit. 45 charge, not overly high weapon strength, good speed. They're going to be really good at taking out those archers. You can hide them back in the trees and send them behind the enemy lines when you need to. Then you also have access to the Raiders, which is a tier 3 cav. They're going to have that silver shield, not the chaos shield, they have their own kind of shields. They're going to have that rage, magic resistance. They're also going to have perfect vigor, magical attacks, and bonus versus infantry. So these guys not going to have the same charge bonus as horses with cavalry with lances, but they are going to be able to get that charge bonus in, deal some damage because of their bonus versus infantry. They're going to be a little bit better at staying in combat than some lance cavalry will. Similar look though, Kurgan and Hugs. They look kind of the same. But yeah, so there's your two new cavalry options. We do have one new beast. You get bloodhounds, very fast. They've got 100 speed, fire attack, vanguard deployment, base missile resistance. Not an overly heavily charge bonus. Okay armor, considering they actually have no armor on them. But really fast. They're also going to be good at flanking around, getting those archers down, maybe doing some cycle charges in the back of the front lines. They look really cool though. Kind of like they're falling apart, or like their skin has been torn off. It's all the muscle. But next we'll go to the Whalers, which is another javelin infantry. They're going to be tier 3, so above the other two you get okay armor, not terribly much. The Norscan base infantry doesn't have a lot of armor. Their weapon strength is going to be armor piercing and bonus versus large for the missile and the weapon strength. They do have a physical resistance, vanguard deployment, and that passive ability rage then. Again, they look really cool. A lot of gingers. Actually, I think they're all ginger. Yeah, they're all ginger. But yeah, just another little javelin variant to take out those single entities and some monstrous infantry. They are all in fact gingers. Was that the same for... Or look at the same. They both got helmets on. Sad. Then we also have the mounted horse carls, which are also going to be a infantry unit. We'll see later. They do have the range thing because they have the fire whilst moving. This is range circle because they have the fire whilst moving. Vanguard deployment. Their missile attacks are poisonous and armor piercing. Their weapon strength is not. Keep that in mind. They do have a lot of ammunition. Not terrible range for a missile cavalry unit. Good armor. Good speed. They're definitely going to be able to throw those javelins and get out of most engagements they would otherwise be occupied in. Really cool. It looks like they have like moss on their shoulders. Oh right, and then I'll let you go through. I almost forgot to do this. I don't think I did that before. That is my mistake, guys. Sorry. You guys want to pause and read what it gives you. Oh. It cuts off a little bit on a lot of them. The Fimir War Noble, as you can see, isn't 100% put together yet. But yeah, there's the missile units, monsters, cavalry. I do really like the green. It's just I don't know. Yeah, okay. So some of them have helmets, some of them don't. But and then rage, of course. I think most of Norsca has access to rage. But yeah, here you are for the first half of the video. Nothing too big. We're definitely going to have more to do with the infantry, but I'll see you in a second. Something I did want to show as well, how many variants you get for the Lord options now. And then also the Radious mod. For the most part, I don't know why these are still tries to get rid of the expanded roster. So like the units you get from pledging yourself to the gods are part of like the normal heroes and stuff. They're still here. They're still in the roster. They're just placed differently. But yeah, I'll meet you in infantry. Hello, we're back. As I said, a lot more infantry options for Norsca. Here is one of the new Lord variants. They have one for fire, shadows, death, beasts, and metal. Personally, fire and metal are my favorite. When I use spellcasters, I want a lot of damage output, and in my opinion, they're some of the best damage spells. But yeah, here's their stats. They all have the same stats, just different spells, and obviously the different passive. Missile resistance, once again, that rage ability. They're a spellcaster. They're not going to be heavy in the melee department. They can get a manticore. Personally, I did not give them one, but they can. I don't like putting them on manticores. Makes them more susceptible to arrow fire, because the AI is really good at that. But yeah, this is what they look like. And then, alright, first we're gonna move to variants. So we get Marauders dual weapons, Marauder Berserker spears, and Marauder Champions dual wield. So they're filling out the ranks as well. Marauders dual weapons, they're gonna be very basic. No shields, they are anti-infantry because they have those two axes. Not really anything to fuss about. Okay charge for infantry, okay armor. These guys are very basic. They're your first tier. They're not going to be very good. And then we also have the Marauder Berserker spears. They're going to be a little bit better. They do have the frenzy, the charge reflection, and the charge defense that comes with having the spears. bonus versus large because of the spears again. They're definitely going to be a more staying still, or maybe countercharge. Nah, not really countercharging. They don't have enough to charge for that. They're going to take the brunt of the monstrous infantry you're facing, hopefully, if the AI complies. Once again, all gingers. But not a lot for either of these. Not a lot of armor, no shields. Keep that in mind. They're going to be very susceptible to arrows. There you go. Arrows are going to tear, or guns are going to tear these guys apart. But the third edition is the Marauder Champions with dual wield. You had great weapons. You had the normal shield and sword. Now you get dual weapons. They definitely have. They're definitely going to be able to stay in missile fire longer than these guys, but no shields. Keep that in mind. Bonus versus infantry because of that dual wield axes, fire resistance and spell resistance, and then that rage, immunopsychology. They're definitely going to be a heavier tier than what we have seen so far. Really cool looking though. Yeah, so these are the additions to the normal Warhammer roster, and now we'll get to the Radious. First thing, we have aspirants for each of the Chaos Gods: Nurgle, Slanesh, Zeech, and Khorne. They're all tier 3, and they're all going to have different effects tying them into their gods. So these are the Nurgle variant. They don't look very corrupted. I do really like their armor. Nurgle color schemes are. I really like their green. I don't like a lot of greens, but the Nurgle green on these guys was really cool. They're going to have the Chaos Shields, the Silver Chaos Shields. They are going to be anti-infantry and have poisonous attacks. They're going to be the same speed, surprisingly, as everyone else. Same everything. Okay, so they're not corrupted enough to get the god benefits. But they do have the poisonous attack and the bonus versus infantry. Not a good charge bonus. They're going to be your more holding fast and holding the front lines. And then we're going to move on to Zeech, which is spear infantry. Once again, not overly corrupted. For some reason they want their thighs uncovered. That was a little bit of it threw me off a little bit. But yeah, they have their big chaos Zeech shield, so silver shield again. Same stats above the melee attack for all of these guys. Nothing different, other than if they have shields or not. But yeah, spears, so they're gonna have that charge defense, charge reflection. They do have frostbite attacks, and then they have bonus versus large, of course, because of the shields. So having these two, while Zeech and Nurgle hate each other, having these two in your front lines, you're definitely going to be able to hold pretty well, hold against whatever comes at you.
The dark gods command me.
It's really throwing me off that their thighs were that uncovered. But, yeah, okay, so Zeech, Nurgle, on to Slanesh. Slanesh, first variant without the, I have to check this, was I just not paying attention? Okay, now Nurgle's fully armored. Slanesh also has their thighs uncovered. But yeah, first variant, not with shields. These are halberd infantry. They're going to have that charge reflection and charge defense because of it. Armor piercing, bonus versus large. Magical attacks on these guys. And then if you want to compare the stats between the two. Very, very pink and purple. Once again, I like it looks like moss on the hearse curls, but it's really nice, like little cape that these guys have. Yeah, there's Slanesh. Once again, rage, and then we'll move on to Khorne. Khorne, also not gonna have a shield. They're gonna be great axe infantry. They do have flaming attacks and the Madness of Cain, which is a debuff for whomever they're fighting, possibly causing rampage. They are armor piercing. They're gonna have the highest charge. Yeah, highest charge. Highest. No, wait, am I dumb? Yeah, highest charge, highest melee, highest weapon. Not the highest melee defense, but they're definitely gonna be your flanker if you can manage. They're not very fast, but they'll be able to charge in with the guys holding the line, charge in and get some of that extra damage off. They do have the red plate. They are fully armored. They're or at least have pants on. I feel like this is a safety concern. But yeah, there's all the aspirants. We'll go through. Let's look at these guys.
Yes, Lord.
They're all the same, but and that cuts off, of course. Only so much the mod developers can do. But yeah, there's the God Aspirants, and now we'll move on to the Kurgan Hunters. They're going to be a tier 2. They're hopefully going to replace your Marauder Infantry. But we have the normal shields, the silver shields, okay armor, nothing to scream about. They do all have Vanguard deployment. They all have passive missile resistance. Really cool looking. They're yellow and orange shields. Okay stats, decent leadership. They are also very slow. Most of these guys are pretty slow. But yeah, they're going to be able to take more arrows because of their silver shields. And then, so that's a shield variant. Then we have the dual weapon variant. They're going to be that anti-infantry, no shields, so susceptible to arrows, but they do still have that passive missile resistance. And then, of course, you can look at the stats. They're usually pretty similar. Dual weapons going to have a little bit higher melee defense, a little bit lower melee defense, but they're going to have everything else better than the shieldmen. And then they should all be the same. Yeah, they're all the same. So here's the description. Yeah, Berserker Axe Infantry. And remember, the longer you keep any of these guys, any of them so far in combat, the more resistance and leadership they're going to have. But yeah, same design, just with 2 axes now. And then we'll move on to the Great Weapon variant. Same thing, they're going to have armor piercing instead. No shields again, keep that in mind. And then they're going to have the higher everything but the melee attack. They're going to be able to get that charge off, deal some damage. Not a lot of staying power, unfortunately, because they're not overly heavily armored. And then we have the spear variant. They're going to be the anti-large, charge reflection, charge defense. Once again, not much different. They're going to be better at maybe holding the line. No shields, keep that in mind. The AI is really good at whittling people down if they have the chance. That guy has a pair of hands on his... That's interesting. But yeah, there's the Kurgan Hunters. We also had their cavalry, but now we're going to move on to the Horse. So you saw their cavalry, they have the throwing weapons. Sorry, drew a blank there. Halberds first. Charge defense versus all. Charge reflection. Oh, it's extra charge defense actually. Missile resistance base. They are going to have sundered armor. Armor piercing, of course, because of the halberds. They also have hands strapped to their armor. Definitely more heavily armored than everyone we've seen so far. Same speed. Yeah, so here's the halberd variant. And then we have the spear variant. They're going to be more stay anti-large. Charge defense versus all. And then that charge reflection again. not much different between the two. They're just a little bit more on the melee attack and charge bonus, less melee defense. But we also have the normal sword and board. They're gonna have that silver shield. They're gonna be weaker than the other two in the aspects of attacking. Oh, no sundered armor except for the halberds, but they're gonna have more staying power because of that shield. They do all have incurves as well, so they're gonna buff the people around them. A lot of Chaos has these little, like, they look like they're gonna cause fire damage, but none of them actually do. But we also have a new thing called the Dragon Ship Reavers. We've got 3 of these guys. First one, sword and board. Also tier 3. They're gonna have frostbite attacks, immunopsychology. They do all have expert charges defense, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then causes fear. These guys, silver shield, less arrow damage. Really cool looking armor. Looks kind of Nurgle-ish, to be honest, in my opinion. But yeah. So we have the shield variant, the spear variant. They're going to be your anti-large. Frostbite attack still. They're going to have the charge reflection. No shields. Oh, here's the description for as far as it goes for these guys. And then we also have a dual variant. They're going to be anti-infantry. They do have that, once again, the charge defense, frostbite attacks. They're going to have the highest charge bonus. Yeah, highest charge bonus. And they're going to tear through enemy infantry as fast as they can. And then we do have two more to look over. A lot of infantry for these guys. We have the skull binders. Why don't you look over their thing real fast? Good armor, anti-large, vanguard, charge reflection, charge defense versus large. Once again, their thighs are uncovered, which I think is the weirdest thing in the world. Armor piercing because they're halberds. They are going to be pretty slow. Keep that in mind for whatever you use them for. Like no charge bonus whatsoever. Just another option if you'd like it. And then we have the Crimson Skull Cultist. They all have skulls on their face. They're unbreakable, causes fear and terror. Silver shields. Here's their not a lot going on. Oh, same speed as most of the infantry. Okay, charge bonus for an axe and shield unit. But they do have that benefit of being unbreakable, so they're going to be able to hold the lines while others might crumble or rout. These guys are going to stay there and keep on fighting. Having a few wounds support your front lines could never do any harm. I actually really like their look too. They look kind of like they'd be magic users, which is funny because they're dedicated to the core. But that is everybody. A lot to go over. Definitely filling out the roster a little bit. I like all of the aspirants before they start becoming corrupted completely. They're like, hey, I maybe want to follow this god. I enjoy that. Of course, Nurgle, my favorite, always. But yeah, there we are for these guys. Next week, can we check that? Yeah, next week will be... Oh no, that's not accurate. Never mind. We won't check that. I don't know who next work will be because I never look.
Shame on
Don't ask me
sorcerer.
why, I don't know. But I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful day.